And welcome to our Design Review Board meeting. Before we get started, I'm going to ask Jason to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you all stand, it's immediately here to your left. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, before we get started, I think everybody's been here before. Just so you know, please approach the podium, let us know your name and the business you represent, and you can lay your plans out in a table up front. So we have 5 items on our agenda tonight. We'll try to move it along pretty quick. So our first one is DRB 2020-16, the application of DeBruno Brothers at 375 West Lancaster Avenue in Wayne for 3 wall signs, 17 window signs, and 3 awning signs. And this is a continuation from last month, so it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, thank you for having us back
You
again,
bet.
Board. We appreciate the opportunity, and I think we've come up with a plan to comply. So
Great, great.
Thank you very much.
And I know you're related to you're the grandson of the...
So thank you. I'm Bill McNucci. I'm the president of DeBruno's. We're very excited about that.
Yeah. And were you the grandson of the owner, did you
I
tell
am.
us? Yeah, sorry.
I am.
Okay, good, good.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
And I'm in good hands with the ladies who have, I think.
All right.
I'm Virginia, and this is Dylan.
Hi.
It's a little reintroduction. Okay, so we're really going through a couple things. We had some minor adjustments to the 2 wall signs from last time, which we made, and we want to make sure that we can get those approved. And it's really this wall sign here in front and this one on the side, both to make sure they're within the size requirements, the lighting requirements, everything there. We know from our last conversation that the one above Coffee Bar we're going to need to get relief for. We completely understand that, but we'd like to get the 2 that are, are here and within all the changes that we talked about last time,
Okay.
approved if we can.
All right, well, why don't we look at those 2 first then?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to the kind of specifics here. See how big it is. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So not too much has changed from the size for the main identification sign. That'll be over top the main entrance. Still suggesting a welded aluminum frame, powder coated this black horizon to match what's happening on the facade. Die cutting the letters and then having it backlit and affixed to the facade.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So you're allowed 60 square feet per sign because you're in the planned business section, and you can have 2 signs, one on your west elevation and one on your south elevation.
That's right.
Okay, so it looks like you've met the square footage requirements. And comments from the board?
No, I think this looks nice. I think it's nice and clean. It's consistent. I think that addresses the concerns that we had last time with the more retro feeling one on the west elevation. So I think this looks nice, and I think it takes care of the Coffee Bar one and knocks that out. And at the same time, it's pretty clear that you can get into DeBruno Brothers from either entrances.
But you said the one you're going to go to get relief for?
The one we're going to need relief for is the separate entrance that has a
Yes.
different looking facade. So the only ones I know the microphone, the only ones we want to make sure we get approval for today are this main entrance on this side and the main entrance on the other elevation, both of which are under the 60 square feet.
Okay.
And they're basically the exact same sign, same branding, same border.
Well, even the cafe, the one that's going on the cafe, is that going at the same spot as where the existing sign is for the dry cleaner?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And it'll be in the same format as far as it being lit in the exact same way
Correct.
as the other 2? Yeah.
Kevin has something to say.
Yeah, so this is something that came up at the last meeting because it's part of the DeBruno's property. It would be a second sign on that facade.
Okay.
So we could handle it one of 2 ways. If they have enough detail and you're comfortable with it, you can conditionally approve that, subject to them obtaining zoning hearing board relief, and then they wouldn't need to come back. Or they could just table that, and then if they get approval for that and any other designs that they would want to come back, they could come back. So I don't know to the level of design that they have, if they are prepared to show you exactly what it's going to look like. To the degree that this board is comfortable, that would be an option that this board has done in the past, where you've conditionally approved something subject to them getting the necessary relief, and then it saves them from having to make a separate trip.
I think your information, the packet that you have here, does address that sign as well, and pretty much it looks like it's almost an identical sign to the one that's over the east elevation.
That's right. Yeah, and I just put it up there just to kind of, you know, our ideal is that we match with the same sight line that's already been existing, and that way it's a little bit more consistent, cohesive with what's happening with the rest of the shopping center.
Just to differentiate between the DeBruno's brother and the cafe, do you plan on putting like window signage in, just so people kind of know where they're going?
Yeah, we're still deciding. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
'cause
still
I don't think that-
deciding what the design looks like there.
You didn't have
but-
your window signage for the cafe, I don't believe, in the packet.
Right, we didn't include it
Okay,
yet.
okay.
Mhm.
We're coming back to you whether you like it or not.
Okay, all right.
That's fine.
Okay, all right. Okay, are we good with that cafe
Yeah,
sign
well,
then?
the one question I have is if we can go to the page with sort of your cross-section, right, you know, where you actually show the treetops as a precedent image, right?
7, yep.
Yep. I guess my question is with regards to the side view or the cross-section of the sign. Hypothetically, I'm standing underneath that. Am I going to see the exposed bulbs of the LEDs? Like, how are they mounted? And that is sort of picking up on
Yeah.
Kevin's comment of sort of the detail
Right.
for how we see that, essentially, just to know that we're kind of comfortable with sort of the assembly of that sign.
Totally. No, we would want to have that hidden and like kind of like flaring up, so you
Right.
wouldn't see anything underneath, or wouldn't see any of that like lights or any types of the bulbs.
So it maybe in that same, whatever you're doing the letters in as well, that's sort of running the perimeter of sort of a secondary box behind the black
That's right.
coated aluminum panel. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, I personally can't stand when you can see the.
Yeah. I just want to make sure.
light.
And the reason why I ask is because then that makes it much easier to just say, yeah, I think we could approve it without having to come back.
Yeah.
You know, once you find the relief, zoning relief, then I'm comfortable saying, yeah, that's quite all right to approve that sign as well.
And again, I know you guys have plenty of time. You're not close to opening anytime soon. So if you change your mind on that cafe, you want to go a different direction, you can always come back. You said you're going to be back anyway,
Right.
so.
You'll pay
I
for
mean,
the
sure-
fee, though.
I'm sorry?
I said you'll pay for the sign fee.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. But,
So would you like us to stick on these, or would you like us to switch to the window clings?
yeah, you guys comfortable now with the
Good,
yeah, I think
the
these
three
are-
wall
these are
signs?
fine,
We're
yep.
okay, and we
Yeah,
give them
we
their
can move
blessing
on.
for the cafe sign?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's move to the windows.
And just real quick, maybe since we're just still talking about the mounted, did you want to take a look at what would
Canopies.
be on the, let me see, is this the south?
The one facing the farmer's market.
Yeah,
I think it's the same, right? Or-
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's fine.
Okay.
So we did bring the awnings again, even though we I think we were pretty close to getting them approved last time. But I thought, it'd be good to get it all clean for you
Sure,
guys.
positively.
And all we have here are the 3 awnings, 2 on the outer, 1 on the inner. They just say DeBruno Bros.
Okay.
You guys had the scallops beforehand?
We did.
And I don't know why, but the Easy Tiger example that you're showing, I think is a stronger sell than the idea of putting that black perimeter edge condition. Like, that profile's, reads really well. And I just
Yeah,
wanna
I
say
thought that was a
so,
good suggestion last time, too.
Yeah, I think that's
from you
good,
guys.
so,
Okay, good. So we're good with that?
yeah, I think we're
And
fine.
you're only, I think, 4.5-inch letters, so you're well within, yeah.
All right, and then it's just the window vinyls, window clings. A couple of different, perfect. So this would just be your die-cut gold metallic and charcoal window vinyl. It would be clear, like wherever you see white space within here is meant to be clear, and so that the lettering and the different products that we're speaking to really pop. And the idea is that this would sort of be right along the edge of the bottom of these windows. And then just the last window on this elevation is a little bit taller. So the line is still going to be at the same kind of horizon there. So charcuterie, beer, and formaggi and wine will be a little bit taller of a window cling.
They're all well within the 15%.
Yeah,
Right,
that's,
right.
that's key. Okay, good.
I think they look really nice.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, I think that's a good alternative to sort of putting them on the, so the pilasters,
Yeah.
putting them in the windows like that
Right.
is a nice alternative, so I
Give
think
her all
that's
the
fine.
credit for it.
There you go.
But then it helps, with the business too. There's so
Yeah.
much that's going to be inside here, so we just want to make sure that we're able to tell those customers, what you can think of DeBruno and what could they have.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I think that'll work nicely.
Yep.
The monument sign, the existing monument sign, are you
Still
guys going to
working
have a
on it.
panel?
Yeah.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay. right.
We're messing around right now with a few iterations on what that's going to look like.
Okay.
So part of what you'll see from us as well.
So that's one of the items you'll bring back?
That's right.
Okay, good. All right, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, board, questions, comments?
No,
It's
all
looking
good.
good, huh?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a strong,
Tim, you're
strong
good?
package.
Okay, Kevin?
Thank you,
You're
guys.
good
You'll
shape?
visit.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Any questions, comments for the board? Everybody's good?
I think so.
No, we look forward to being part of the community.
Great,
Absolutely.
great.
Looking forward to having you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, Jason, you want to take the motion?
Sure, just as a quick clarification, right? So we want to, we're gonna approve all signs and we're gonna.
It's
I would
approving
just
the,
make sure-
it's approving the application and additionally, providing a conditional approval for the sign over
Sign.
the cafe.
Provided they receive
Yeah.
relief from the zoning board. Right, okay, I just want to, okay. All right, so that, in that case, in the matter of DRB 2020-16, application of wall signs, window signs, and awnings by DeBruno Brothers at 375 West Lancaster Avenue, I move to approve the application as provided and approve the additional sign over the cafe entrance, provided they find relief from the zoning board in that case.
Okay. All right, here a
Second.
second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Good
All right.
seeing y'all.
We'll see-
Thank you very much.
See you
Best
next
of luck.
month or in a couple months, I guess,
Yeah, a
right?
couple of times.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All righty. All right, next on the agenda is DRB 2020-17, the application of M3P Partners at 427 East Lancaster Avenue in Wayne for a freestanding sign.
Good evening, Board.
Hi, how you doing?
Mark Janasek with Wayne 427.
How you doing, Mark? Looks like the building's coming along real nicely, huh? Yeah,
Finally moving a little further beyond the COVID. Hopefully that doesn't come back again to any of
sure.
us.
Let's hope not.
Okay, so we're here today to discuss the monument sign. Obviously, we were before you probably 2 years past now on the building facade, and at that approval, we said we would come back when we're closer to the installation of the sign.
Right.
So the image that you see here is, of course, the building. You see that's well underway right now. The style of our building we're coining as an industrial modern building that has a base course of board-formed concrete. And I think in the package that we gave you, we may have given you kind of a close-up of what that texture looks like. And we're bringing that industrial concrete along with brick, which pays a little homage to the brick buildings around us. And then we're bringing in some steel elements with the front canopy and some modern elements of the full glass entry and the metal panel stair tower, et cetera. So I mention that only because the sign itself, you may say, well, what is the impetus and what is this? And that's really what it's doing. Our sign proposal for the monument sign is pulling together the elements of the building itself. So the background that you see, not that well illustrated in this rendering, but is the board-formed concrete. So essentially, it's an extension of that base material that's going around the building. And again, I didn't bring an image with me, but I think in the package you probably saw that texture, and you probably know what I mean by what that is.
Yeah.
In addition to that material texture, you'll see a diagonal on the one edge of the sign, and that's actually echoing some steel elements on the building itself, where there are some diagonal structural beams that are exposed. So we're again playing off of that building. And then we get into the lettering and the sign itself. So the W is a laser cut brass finish plate, and that plate is recessed and backlit into the wall itself. So the concrete form will have approximately an 1.5 inch recess, and so the brass sign will be relatively flush with the face of the concrete. It may stand proud, maybe about 1/4 inch, but what it won't do is allow the exposed lighting behind. Similar conversation that we just had. So the LED lighting will be within that recess. So no matter what angle, if you're looking from a bird's view or underneath or side, you won't see the light at all. You'll just see the glow of the light coming around it. So that's the brass part, and of course the dimensions you see on the drawing. And then below that are surface-mounted letters and numbers, and they are not backlit. Only the brass portion is backlit. So they're surface-mounted, powder-coated black aluminum letters and numbers. And again, you see also the dimensions on the drawing. And there is a calculation in the upper left corner on this drawing of the square footage of numbers, so I believe that we're within the ordinance of the size parameters. And this would be a two-sided sign, so you see the exact same thing on the opposite side. So whether you're coming from east or west, you would see the same image on this monument sign. So one of the things that I don't believe it made the packet is how are we illuminating the Wayne 427 and the luxury condominiums portion? And I actually brought a fixture. I don't know if you need that. I also have a cut sheet. So this is a simple ground LED low voltage light.
Fine, thank you.
And that would be in front of the sign, ground mounted uplight.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you care to see. It was small enough that I didn't mind bringing the picture.
There you go.
There you go.
So it's a post-mounted. The only thing that would project out of the ground would be this portion. And of course, this is adjustable to make sure that the light doesn't spill over. And that would simply illuminate the letters
Okay.
and numbers of Wayne 427. So that's the description that I have. Is there anything?
Mark, can you
additional?
use the microphone? Mike?
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, so that's the description of the sign. Is there anything specific that you would like to ask relative to that?
So for the ground-mounted lights, how far are they away from the monument sign? You know, as far as to be able to provide the right cast or cone of light that hits that?
Approximately 18 inches.
18 inches? Okay.
What's the limit there?
15.
50?
15.
So the concern that we have, I think it looks pretty, it's a nice design. The concern that I have is that the actual sign exceeds the square footage. While the lettering on the sign may not, the actual monument itself is the sign. So the concrete is signage, such that, you know, the square feet would be closer to 40 square feet when you're allowed 15.
Okay. So I guess that's an interpretation, and I could submit some other signs of which you will recognize all of these signs. There are submissions of, I guess,
That's the-
6 different signs.
Yeah. Mark, the one thing too is naturally different areas have different
Right.
signage. I mean, a lot of places you can go up to 30 or 25 square feet.
Okay,
You know, unfortunately, you're in residential area, you're only allowed 15, so,
okay.
yeah.
So these signs that I just presented were obviously our
Right.
direct neighbors. And I think that there actually might be 1 or 2 signs of our direct neighbors. And that's what we're basing it upon. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you updating me on that.
Yeah, I can tell you, everybody, and I would think
Sheldrake.
Sheldrake did also,
Yeah.
but I know I've sat on, I think, every one of these, and they've all got approvals. I know this guy maxed it out right to like the inch, you know?
Right.
And I
So
think-
I look for your guidance on that.
Yeah.
Certainly,
No,
I'm
I-
not as tuned in some of those
Right.
specific
I mean,
ordinances.
I like the sign, I like the size, because you have such a large building. I think a small sign would kind of get lost on that. I don't know, what do you feel, Jason?
I think the sign is, to your point, I mean, if you look at the neighbors, there's sort of a consistency in the proportion as what you see in sort of adjacent neighbors. I'm just trying to think. I mean, there's kind of a couple approaches, right? I mean, you could, I'm sorry, Kevin.
Sure. So without seeing what has been presented to you and knowing the specifics of those applications, those signs, were they compliant when they were first installed and they came back to this board for replacement under an existing nonconformity, which they would be entitled to? And whether they did or didn't, we can't look at what an adjoining property has on theirs, whether it was approved by code or there was an error issued in approving those permits. We are, with the here and now with this property, and this property would need to comply. So that is something that, you know, while that could be an argument for zoning hearing board, that's nothing that this board has the purview to grant relief on. So that is one concern. And the other concern I had, you know, there's two different regulations in this code about sign height for, so it does say 6 feet. But then if you go to the definitions of freestanding signs, the ground signs are further limited to 4 feet. So I would think that the definition would be the controlling measurement in that. And then just the placement of this sign, particularly given the height and the close proximity to the sidewalk, creating some traffic visibility looking down Lancaster Avenue to the west.
Right.
I think we'd want to have a traffic study before we, for the sign.
Not necessarily a traffic study, but,
Or
you know,
whatever.
if you have something
The
of
sight
this
line,
this
whatever.
magnitude right there, but yes, a clear sight distance or triangle to look at that. And I
Right.
took a quick look through this, and I didn't see any information on that.
Right.
Well, you have to be at least 10 feet.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions.
Right.
You notice in that recent submittal, I measured several signs, and I saw an average of about 10 foot. They were
Yeah,
from like
yeah.
9.6 to 10.7. So is that the confirmation that 10 feet from the curb
Yeah.
is what, or
Yeah,
closer to the
They call it
building?
the cartway,
Right.
so, yeah,
Okay.
10 feet. But again, the sight line we would want to check out also.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
really what we're looking at here is the sign's too big.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, I think the sign, in terms of its design, its style, you
Yeah.
know, proportionality, if it was scaled down to the correct size, I think I'd be fine with that.
Okay.
I appreciate the use and trying to share the use of the features from the building onto the sign and tying it in that way. But really, it's just outside of what we can approve. Which
So-
leaves it up to you as to whether you want to go seek relief or want to propose something new to us.
Okay. So I will, to seek relief,
35? Is that square footage?
I certainly could research in that, but what would the compliant sign size be?
If it's in residential, then.
Yeah, the sign area shall not exceed 15 square feet.
15, I'm sorry?
Yeah, 15, 1-5. And if freestanding, which it is, shall not exceed a sign height of 6 feet above mean grade.
Okay.
So 6 feet high, max, 15 square feet, max.
So we have 5'4" height.
Yeah,
It's 4 foot height for the ground sign. Per the definitions, in the definition section, it's 4 foot.
really? Because I'm looking
Freestanding
under-
sign, yes, but so that, you would look at freestanding signs and it says 6 feet, but that would be applicable to the pole sign. The ground sign in the definition has a maximum of side face not to exceed 4 feet.
Where it actually is on the ground rather than, if
like
it was on the poles.
If it was on a pole, it could be the 6
I-
foot. The
okay.
ground sign is further
Gotcha,
limited.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
So 4 foot in height, and then the length, we just have to do the math. It can't exceed 15
Right,
square feet.
15.
Right.
So we'll work on the proportions, but essentially if we minimize this and we kept the same shape, that might be acceptable.
I think so.
If it was, just-
Lowered to 4 feet and then whatever length.
if it was within the scope of the 15 square feet and that proportion, this design I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I think
Okay.
it's nice. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not
So-
sure what size sign you'd end up with, though, with,
Right.
um,
Well, 4
with using all the
times 3
concrete.
point,
7.5.
yeah. So it would end up being a slightly different proportion. But okay, we'll have to rescale it and see if we can do that.
Okay.
But I understand.
I think the advantage is yours based on sort of the proportions of that thing and, excuse me, the sort of monolithic nature of it, that it'll still have the legibility as sort of that nice sign, because of what you designed. And so again, to that point, I believe the board's in agreement that what you've designed is good, as far as like how it'll read and sort of the design of it. And so to that point, it's really just making it come in compliance with what's required.
Got it.
Size-wise.
Okay. So when we reduce this in size, our letters are probably going to reduce in size. And in my resubmission to you, my guess is that I might want to ask if a ability to add numbers to the building, and I assume that falls under the sign category.
Yeah.
So if we look at the screen here, we had contemplated adding numbers just 427 in this area that would be vertically mounted. Talk to me a little bit about that so I get that right on a resubmission.
Yeah, I think from an address sign, I'd want to take a look at the, through emergency services and our building codes for height, because I'm concerned if we're going to put building mounted address on there, that it's not going to be visible once the landscaping starts to grow up and mature. So we may want to look at something up a little bit higher on that.
Okay. So I was
And
thinking.
that's, I would consider that more of an address sign if we're just dealing with 427,
Uh-huh.
and not something that, you know, obviously this board can weigh in on, you know, the style of the signage, the numbering, but other
So
than
would that be a submission to this board as well, Kevin, or is that a separate submission? for-
Typically, we don't, you know, I don't, if you're going to come back and you have an idea, I mean, I'd leave that up to the chairman to, you know, make sure that if they're going to be sizable sign, you know, typically it's 6 to 8 inch letters, but if you're going to go a little bit bigger,
Right.
I think we would want to take a look at that, make sure it's consistent with the overall design.
And is there a separate application to the township for building numbers?
No, that would be just something that we would look at it during the final aspect
Got it.
of it. But again,
Okay.
if it's something that you're going to come back, because we're talking significant changes to the freestanding sign, have an idea so that this
Right.
board can just, you know, look at it and say, okay, yeah, that's what they were envisioning, just so that we're all on the
Okay.
same page.
And I was thinking that it would be the exact same font, the 427,
Oh, it's-
but it would be vertically mounted in that area that we talked about. And we're thinking that they would probably be 10 to 12 inches in height, so that they have good visibility. Because my concern is that we may have to shrink this down small enough that cars might not see it. And so we want to make sure that we have a good prominent, at least, address. So that's up to you whether you want me, it sounds like that's not something that we typically would submit to you.
Well, if you're coming back to us,
Yeah.
just bring that along. I
Okay.
don't think you need to make a special trip, but yeah.
Okay.
Definitely tied in with your resubmission.
Okay.
Yeah, or, again, I guess you have the right to go to zoning hearing board if need be, if you
Well,
want
I mean,
to go that
you wanna
road.
just continue this and give them a.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a
Yeah.
continuance.
Yeah, so I mean, if you wanted to come back to us, we can do a continuance, and then you can come back next month and give
Yeah.
us a new idea.
Yeah, I think I would. It
Right.
sounds like that's an
Yeah.
easy thing to do, and I'm going to try to just scale this down. You'll probably see something that looks almost identical, but
Yeah.
in a compliant scale.
Right. Mark, I mean, how close we are to having occupancy in there?
Not until late October, so I think we have some time.
Well, you're getting there a little bit, so, okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay, good,
Okay,
good.
very good.
All right, so we'll do a continuation.
Yeah, in the matter of DRB 2020-17, I move to continue this matter.
Is there a second?
My second.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Great, thank you.
See you next month. And, okay, Mark, just so you know, you have to get your plans in by August 19th to be on the agenda for September.
So I got a week.
Yes. Okay? All right, thanks, Mark. All right, next on the agenda is DRB 2020-18, the application of Michael Fisher at 389 West Lancaster Avenue, which is a farmer's market in Wayne, for 2 wall signs. Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
It's all good.
Good.
They're an on-off button.
I think you're probably on, but just speak right into it and speak loudly. Yeah.
My name is Michael Fisher, manager of the Lancaster County Farmers Market, representing Sam Neff, the property owner, and S. Clyde Weaver, operators of the farmers market.
There you go.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Fisher, so it looks like you want to put a couple new signs up, right?
We would like to replace 2 existing signs that are approximately 8 feet by 8 feet, slightly less than 8 feet by 8 feet, and we're proposing 2 new signs that would be 6 feet by 10 feet. They will be located in the exact same location as the current signs, one facing Lancaster Avenue on the south side of the building, and then the second facing Eagle Road on a little appendage of the market.
Okay,
Signs, just very simple
yeah.
farmer's
Sir,
market.
can you slide that up a little bit so that the camera can pick it up for our viewing audience? Thank you.
There we go.
There's currently no illumination there, like the signs
Correct,
aren't lit
and
at all.
there will be none.
And there still will not be.
Correct.
What kind of materials are you going to make those signs of, out of?
I think they're listed there.
Control pack is sort of a product. On the last page, sort of a bill of order,
Oh, okay.
item number 1, it says, I'm sorry, control pack. I'm not really sure what that is, but that's that's what it is. It's probably some sort of plastic or resin-based thing.
Mhm.
Vinyl.
Yeah,
The materials, I am not completely familiar with the control tack
mhm.
3M product, but
Any idea? Kevin, any idea what kind of material that would be?
It's a
I know,
vinyl.
it's mounted on a white ACM, but I'm not quite, I don't want to take a guess as to what that material is. If it's a vinyl, polycarbonate of some sort, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it's a vinyl. I'm just looking that up now, again.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So we okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, it's funny that the shadow of the old farmer's market sign is still there.
on the brick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Kind of fits the building a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Naturally, with most signs, or all signs, we always tell the people, you got to get rid of that shadow from the previous sign, but I don't know. What do you think? It's a farmer's market.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And who knows if, when they did that sign, that paint may never come off, you know?
Yeah.
The kind of stuff they used years ago, that little oil base and all, so I would say just probably run with it and let it go.
I don't see a reason.
Yeah,
It
well-
hasn't bothered me.
No, it's kind of faded out and
Yeah.
everything, so. You all right with it, Jason?
Yeah,
Just that old
I'm-
shadow, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yep.
yeah. I think the one on the back, that maybe we should be a little more careful about trying to paint in this sign here,
Yes.
right? I don't think we want to see any shadow when that comes off.
No,
Because
no,
it's going to
no.
be a different, shape. So we'd ask that,
Okay.
whether that needs to be repainted,
Okay.
so you didn't see any outline from the previous sign.
Well, and then just pare and repatch as
Yeah.
need be, because the proportions are now more of a rectangle than the square, so there might be what were fasteners up above at the top
Yes.
or bottom edges, and sort of we just ask that you clean that up and sort of patch and repair as required
Yes.
in those areas to be sort of sort of in alignment with what the existing brick is there, in color and in style.
So each sign is 60 square feet, and again, just like the Bruno Brothers,
Yeah.
in that center, it's planned business, they're allowed 60 square feet per sign, so.
Yep.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, and they're allowed to two signs, because
There's- it's on two roads.
two signs, two sides, so.
Yep.
I think it's
The max is 15 feet from grade, they're going to be well within that, so. The only other thing that scares me a little bit is the mounting. It says the screws every 24 inches around the perimeter. You're not allowed to see exposed screws. So
Okay.
the fasteners have to be hidden. So just don't bolt it into the wall. So have your guy do it in a way that you're not going to see the exposed screws.
Okay.
And it can be done, so, yeah. And do we have any idea on the color? The 302C?
It is a bluish color. I believe the one print I have does show the shade of blue
Okay.
Like a Pantone?
and the color. The numbers are listed there.
Pantone
Pantone
302C. Jason's getting that up.
Trying to see. Yeah, it's definitely sort of in a navy. I know
Okay.
it's, for as subtle as that is, right?
Yeah,
That's fine.
that'll look fine,
Just to
yeah.
kind of give you an idea.
Mhm.
So for
Okay.
anyone else, that's what
Yes.
came up as Pantone 302C.
Okay. I guess the one thing that's, it's such a unique business because we're only open up 3 days a week, and on that sign, he's saying, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. The old sign has that.
The old sign has it, so.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I don't have a problem with it, so, okay. You all right with that, Jason?
I'm sorry, the old sign has.
The days that it's open.
Oh, yeah, that's,
You don't have a problem with it?
No, I don't have a
Okay,
problem.
I don't either, so, okay. All right, anything else from the board? You guys pretty good?
I think
no,
it's
I
fine.
would, the only thing conditional approval that the
Hidden
wall
fasteners?
fasteners are hidden.
Okay,
That would
so
be
we'll
the
make,
only thing.
we'll make that in a motion. so.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Fisher, you have any questions for the board or comments?
No, I think
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay, so Jason's going to make a motion for approval.
All right, so in
Thank
the
you.
matter of DRB 2020-18, the application by Michael Fisher for 389 West Lancaster Avenue, the farmer's market here in Wayne, for 2 wall signs, I move to provide conditional approval, provided that both signs have concealed fasteners and they are not exposed.
Seconded.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
There you go. Approved.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
Next is DRB 2020-19, the application of the mansion at Rosemont at 404 Cheswick Place in Rosemont for 10 mounted light poles and 1 wall pack. Hi there, how you doing?
Hi,
Hi.
doing great.
Good,
Yourselves.
great.
Mike Bilko, I'm the applicant, or the architect for the applicant.
Okay, good to have you here. Mike, we were saying, is this the Presbyterian home?
I'm
And-
gonna let Steve, Argent is the,
Yes, formerly Rosemont Presbyterian Village.
Yeah.
Now we are, formerly Rosemont Presbyterian Village, we are now Human Good. So we are the mansion at Rosemont, Human Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you the son of Fred Pargin?
I am.
Okay. All right, I remember your dad.
I remember you.
Yes, good to see you, yeah. All right.
So this application is pretty straightforward. We have existing site lighting. And on this drawing, unfortunately, it's not being picked up too well by the camera, but in the lighter indication, we have existing site lights, which are light poles with shoebox-type, high-intensity discharge light fixtures on it. The intention of this project is to do a upgrade of the lighting to new LED fixtures, to get rid of the HID fixtures, and they have some issues in the parking lot where they have some dark corners. So the intention was to add 3 new lights, 1 double here, and 2 singles here and here to illuminate the dark corners. And we have 1 wall pack on the building. The new light fixtures are RAB, who's a recognized manufacturer. It's an aluminum housing. It's a bronze fixture. They're full cutoff, dark sky compatible lights. So, they're state-of-the-art commercial light fixtures. Cut sheets were submitted. I can put them, I have them here if you want me to put them up on the screen as well. I can go further into the presentation, or I could
Well,
accept
we'll
questions.
Or some
Are the
questions.
lights-
Yeah.
My only question, the lights are on 24/7, right? Or not, sorry, they're not on during the day, but the intent is that they're on throughout the course of the entire evening.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the housing complex before. It's not Beaumont, but I'm trying to think, what's that area called?
Beaupre.
Beaupre, thank you. Is there any interference? Is there going to be upset neighbors with these new lights, or?
Well, I'll show you, we did have Orsatti and Stewart come out and do a landscaping survey of the density of the landscaping that's adjacent to this parking area. And this is just the landscaping on our property. There's even more landscaping on the adjacent parcels. So there's a lot of tree cover.
Okay.
And
It's pretty
in
well
between
Okay.
here. The other item that we did was we had Dave Harnachek, electrical engineer, lay out on one side is the existing lighting. And what we have is, you can actually, if you look at this, it's a foot candle map. And they identify the foot candles around the existing light fixtures, and you can see where the dark spots are. And so we have an existing one, and we have a proposed. In the proposed, at no point out where it abuts the landscape area, because the property line is further out, are we over 1 foot candle.
Okay.
So, if there is an impact, it's going to be de minimis.
Whatever light spill you have is going to be pretty much as ambient.
Correct.
And-
Correct.
And I know where you're sitting there, you're back in the woods. It's pretty well secluded back in there, so I don't think that's gonna be too big of a concern. You said it's dark sky compliant lighting.
Correct.
That seems to be fine with me.
Yeah,
I think there's a need for the lights back there for the facility,
right.
and that's where we're at.
Okay.
Have you gotten any complaints from the neighbors in the existing years?
No.
Has anything been mentioned to the neighbors about this project?
We have not had any conversations with the neighbors. Candidly, we submitted for a permit to do the replacement, thinking it was a maintenance improvement, and that's when we were told that we need to come in front of this review board and have the fixtures reviewed. And that's
Okay.
why we're here tonight.
How tall are those poles that you're using?
Steve, I don't know the height of the poles. Do you know off the top of your head?
I want to say about 15 feet.
Yeah. Is there a standard within the township, Kevin?
There is, and I'm not sure if, I thought they were just replacing the fixture height, or not the whole pole end fixture, just the fixture.
Yeah.
So if they're already going on the existing mounted pole, then it would be, an existing non-conforming. We
Okay.
wouldn't. But the concern is whenever you're doing lighting,
Yeah.
it does meet the technical requirements to come in here. So that's why I made that decision that they
Okay.
come in front of this board.
And I think your light candle map does a decent job. It satisfies me that there's not gonna be the spill to the neighbors, such that I'm willing to approve it.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. You're going to paint the poles that need to be painted?
Yes,
Is that the idea?
that's the intent.
Okay.
Because the dark bronze is probably, the poles have faded over the years.
Right.
The intent is to go repaint all the existing light poles to match the fixtures. when they're
Okay, okay, good. And that one box light you're going to put up, you have a
The
single?
wall pack, the
The wall
single
pack,
wall pack,
yeah.
again, full cutoff, dark sky. Right now, it is not a cutoff. It actually projects out. So
Okay.
we'll be improving the existing conditions so we don't get light, you're not getting any direct light
Okay.
coming out of that
It's
fixture.
on the second page of that.
Yeah, yeah.
On the bottom of
That works for me.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're
Also,
good.
same dark bronze color.
Right. All right. Any other?
Everything works for me.
It works? Jason,
Yeah,
it works?
if anything, commending on the foot candle study, that really helps. And that's, your due diligence in sort of providing that is well received, so thank you.
Good. Okay.
Thank
Questions for the board? You guys all right? Steve, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Jason, or, I'm sorry, Tim, you want to take this one?
In the matter of DRB 2020-19, the application of the mansion at Rosemont, application for 10 mounted poles and 1 wall pack, I move to approve the application.
Here, a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Good to see you,
Thanks,
Steve.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care. Okay, last on the agenda tonight is DRB 2020-20, the application of Valerie Rogers at the Spread Bagelary? Bag- At 134 North, what's that?
That's where we're all going to meet in the morning.
Okay, I hope so, yeah. 134 North Wayne Avenue, Suite 102 in Wayne, zoned under the Wayne Business Overlay District, and this was formerly the Suburban Newspaper Building as a point of reference. So, all right, nice to have you here, Valerie. And you, sir?
I just saw you
Oh,
2 weeks ago.
You can use the mic, please. The mic?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Is this thing on?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
All right, so it's a new business in town coming in, huh?
It's a new boy in town.
All right, great.
This is Jamie Schotberger with
All
the
right.
CEO of Spread Bagel Ring, and Jeff Harkins, the Director of Branding for Spread.
Great.
And you know who I am.
Okay, good.
Valerie with Starlight National
Yes.
Signs. Okay. So,
So it looks like three window signs you like to do. So if you want to start with the
Yes.
front window first, that's fine.
the front window sign is just white vinyl,
Mhm.
applied directly to the glass, I think because the windows are tinted just a bit,
Mhm.
so for better visibility there.
Yeah. So Valerie,
Yes.
you're aware that you're only allowed to use 20% of your window space for signage?
We are. I just
Okay.
measured what was there.
Right.
And also I measured our neighbor.
Yeah, that's a bad move.
And,
Yeah. Do you have any idea how large his windows
Well,
are?
I don't, okay, so if we're planned business, I think it says 15%.
Well,
planned
like the
business,
farmer's
the
market can only do
overall, right.
15%. In town, you can do 20.
The 20 on
Yeah.
the, okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
So-
I didn't see that in the ordinance
Yeah. yeah.
exactly.
Uh,
But if it was a zoning overlay,
So I think just looking at it, you may be a little bit larger than you're allowed, but,
they had 20 square feet. And we were
yes.
proposing 17.5.
Okay.
square
Again,
feet.
there's been a lot of tenants in and out there in the last 5 years, and not everybody has come before our board, unfortunately. So measuring somebody else's sign isn't a good thing.
Well, then our neighbor next to it. So if you look at the existing signage page, you can see the spa next to us.
Mhm.
Well,
And I
you
just
say
sort
that
of-
you're coming in at 17.4 square feet?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
How did you calculate it? Did you do it by the full squared off of
Yes.
the decal?
Yes.
And that's how you got to it? So then if you're at 17.4, I haven't done the math to confirm that, but then
yeah, it's
that's within the
5'6" by 3'2".
20%, right? No. Do you know what your actual window square footage is?
Yes.
Then that's really the percentage there. I don't know what the math is. I'm a lawyer, I don't do math.
Yeah. It's, the front glass is approximately. We're 75 inches, 75 and a half by 106 and a half.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jason, you going to do the math on that?
yeah, I'm doing
Okay,
that.
all right.
I'm an architect, I don't do math either, but
All right.
probably maybe a little bit more than lawyers.
Businessman does it more than us.
Yeah, right?
But I thought,
Thanks.
Here is 8,040
Square inches?
square inches. Yeah, I'm just doing the
right,
math,
divided
right?
144.
66 times 38, 25, 2508 divided by 80, 40 is at like 31.1%,
It's just-
31.2%.
Where they're at now.
That's what's shown,
Okay,
ballpark.
okay. I mean, is it going to, well, I'm sorry, can you use the mic, sir? Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's the entire logo.
I mean, is it going to create a hardship if
not-
you go down in size a little bit?
It would really, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, if you can
Right.
use the mic, sir?
Is
Thanks.
the
If you
sign-
need to stand, that mic is live as well, if you want to stand back and do it there, and she can present up the front. I'm just proposing that.
That's the,
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
Is it on?
If I may, I'd like to ask our, Kevin a question. Is the sign defined by just, in this case, a four-sided rectangle? or-
It's a box around,
Right.
so you try to
You
get your box
confine
in,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
a point of
I just
clarification.
did some quick measurements and was trying to follow along with the math. It looks like you have about 1,608 square inches of allowable window signage at 20%. And then the current sign as proposed is about 2,500 square inches. So about 900 square inches.
It would, I mean, I went over and measured the neighbor just to get the same width, so
Mhm.
proportionally, the building will look
Right.
proper.
Right.
Right.
It will look uniform.
Mhm.
I mean, I just thought, I mean, even though they're probably like, why is she measuring on her windows?
Yeah.
But I measured the negative space
Mhm.
on either side, got the spread, and then measured ours, and then just checked the
Yeah.
side to stay uniform and width.
Well,
Because
we really need to stay,
So if we're at-
within
Yeah,
that
as I mentioned
20%.
on the other one, and we're gonna have to take a look to see if that sign even came in front of this board
Yeah.
and deal with that from a code enforcement standpoint. But even if it was approved, and it was approved in error,
Right.
or there was something previously there and they were grandfathered in, it's kind of the here and now, and we need
Right.
to make sure that this comes is in compliance.
Okay. You know, that's a building that sits real close to the road, and even smaller than it's still going to be visible. You know, it's, even from across the street, it's going to be visible.
Right, the other thing is, you know, Polish below us
Mhm.
has that little blade sign. And, you know, we were originally proposing a blade sign, but
Well,
we weren't sure that'd be so visible, but we
Yeah.
were kicking it around.
you know,
A
it's
little
funny,
bit.
I was telling Tim before the meeting, and Kevin, you've been here a while, but when the previous code enforcer was here, every month, the prior owners came in for signage, and it just got to be to a point where, you know, the previous code enforcer, like, put up his hands, it's like, you can't do anymore. You guys are like putting signs everywhere, side of the building, front of the building, you're way over your allowance and stuff like that. So the Polish did come in for approval. Now, I don't know whether the sign they have now was the one we approved. I mean, they had an explosion in that building years ago. I don't know when they put the pieces back together, whether they changed the signage or not. I don't even know, is the ice cream store on the other side or the donut shop in the basement? Is that still there?
What is there? Let me think
Wayne
of what's
Bar.
there.
Yeah, the Wayne Bar?
Yeah, so the Wayne Bar has left.
They have left,
And
okay.
Ken is coming up with his own ice cream and candy store down
Okay.
there of some kind.
Okay, so they'll have to come in also.
But just, you know, if you look at, we have 5 other spread bageleries in Philly and Bryn Mawr,
Mhm.
and everyone has pretty dramatic backlit signs, beautiful quality,
Mhm.
Right,
you know,
right.
$800 kind of $1,000 kind of build
Right,
outs.
right.
I'm a fan
with-
of the
with-
Montreal-style bagel. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
We've gotten them even during COVID.
With this, we do not have access to any other signage based on the landlord, Ken and his partners.
Yeah.
For that. So we need to have something that says that we're here.
Right.
My understanding, which I am wrong on, was that the spread, the letters on there, because most of it's actually clear, right? I always thought the 20% was from what the weight of that white was as a percentage, which
Right.
I'm wrong on. But we need to have something a little bit more dramatic, because that's I know you said it's on the street, but we all know that it's set back like 6 feet from the walkway versus any other street. So this is all we have.
Yeah.
And we're trying to come up with something that you can live with, approve, the residents in this area would like. So if you want us to shrink it a little bit,
Well, yeah.
we can do that.
I think the aesthetic of it is nice.
Oh, yeah, that's
I
great.
think the aesthetic of it is really, it fits nicely onto the building, it fits nicely into Wayne, I think it does. I think it fits nicely with the kind of the more rustic style of the bagels that you're actually marketing. So, I mean, from an actual appearance, I think it hits the mark. It's just a matter of what we can actually approve, since you've come before us, and thank you for doing that, which is what you're supposed to do. But we can't go beyond what the code allows us.
Yeah, that's unfortunately outside of, well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's outside of our jurisdiction. You know, we kind of have to letter of the law type of thing. But I don't disagree at all with the fact that you want as much brand recognition as possible on that. That's because that literally is the sort of limitation of the signage beyond the people that have already committed to coming in, right? The other signs are essentially for those that are there already, that know what they're doing. And so to that point, there's really kind of two directions to kind of go. And you know, one would be just reduce it in size to what's compliant. But to that point, you know, do your math, right? Like down to the gnat's ass detail, essentially, and know what exactly that size is. Ballpark, you know, you're at 36% now of what's available to you. I'm sorry, you're at 36, which is over by 16%. You have to kind of reduce it by almost like 900 square inches. Or the
It's
second.
like 6 square feet, so it's,
Yeah. I mean, the other school of thought is, and you may have heard us in chatting with others, is really the need to go in front of zoning for relief to the zoning board. Again, because it's just outside our purview of what we're allowed to weigh in on. We can weigh in on the aesthetics, to the brand, of which, I'm completely on board with as well as my colleague, but, again, what we can approve is limited in size.
and to some extent, the fact that it's a clear sign, for the most part, I think that I appreciate that, because the 20%, you could have it be blacked off and it would look ugly. But by having it be the clear, you're marketing your name, plus also letting people see inside
The depth of the store.
and see, because you got the oven that you're gonna have in there.
Activity, all the people.
And so even the inside, the aesthetic of the inside is part of your marketing outside.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, in two schools of thought, one could be, we can approve it.
Or
Yeah.
We can approve it, well, there's
Condition on the
three.
size.
We could just say no, because it's not in compliance. We can approve per reducing it and just say, yes, we'll make sure that it's within 20%, approved, we move forward. Or if there's, on your part, like, look, we really need as much as we can, and then the third school of thought is to take it in front of zoning to find.
Can we do B and C, along with approve at 20% if we keep it there, but if we look at the models and say, you know what, this doesn't work for us, we can go to the zoning board and say we need relief?
Okay.
Kevin, you have to
Positively.
correct me here, but if we approve it conditionally and that's something that's appealable, our conditional approval? If they were wanting to take this up,
Well, I think if I heard the two options, that you would approve it conditionally as it stands as they submitted, subject to getting zoning hearing board relief, or if this board is comfortable, you could approve it subject to them coming into the compliance. And this board has done both options before.
Yep.
I think what we'd want to understand is, are they just taking it and doing an overall reduction of it, and it's going to stay in that exact format and configuration, just be smaller? So this board has done that. That would be an option. If those were the two options that I understood were being talked about as presented, which would be conditional upon zoning hearing board approval, or at the 20%, subject to them coming into compliance, given that it's just a proportionate
and
reduction.
I'll even throw another option out there, of the spread bagelry is the sign you need. You have the bagels, while they're cool in the design of them all, the decals on the side window there,
Right.
those are counting against you right now when it comes to that proportionality. So if you shrink them, or I mean, because if that's what we're talking about there, right?
Wait,
So-
oh, are we on the next page?
Is that
Are we
right?
on-
Did
Where
we
you're
move
saying,
on?
well, this is a side window. It's a
Oh,
separate
excuse me.
window.
Never
yes.
mind.
Yeah, that's a.
I'm
Yeah,
off.
So we're going to
I'm
look
off.
at that one next, yeah.
Never mind.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think outside.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I guess, yeah, that's your option. Shrink it down to the 20% where it meets code, or basically come back with a revised plan, or go to zoning hearing board. So.
Zoning board meets the third Thursday. September 17th is the next hearing. August 17th or 18th, I forget which. Let's go, the 17th is when the applications are due.
So we understand that the takeaway from this, you have to do your homework, right? And be like, can we live with that? And see what that looks like, right? And evaluate it to see if it has the same sort of level of impact that you were hoping for. That we understand. And if anything, please, we want to be the friends of the business here in Wayne, and do not want to sort of be that roadblock. It's, again, sort of our responsibility is just sort of adhering to the code as we have it today, so.
Yeah, it's funny that this building, it's a beautiful building,
Oh,
and it was
absolutely.
run down, and, a fellow bought it and fixed it up, but the signs, I mean, every month it was back and forth. It was just, want more, you can't have it, and it's just a tough location, and you have, with basically 4 businesses fronting the road. Everybody's vying for space, and it's a
Right.
tough application. But I was going to ask you, that blade sign that's hanging there, and who is Polish on
That's
that? I'm not too
Polish
sure
is
that ever
on that,
came in for
yeah.
approval. I know, like I said, the stuff at the bottom for Polish came in, but, or you know what, I take that back. I'm not even sure if Polish ever came in. There was I think a previous nail salon Polish might be a new owner with a new name in there, so I'm not even sure if that ever came in also, down below. Yeah,
Take that off here.
yeah, but there, like I said, it was just, there was issues every month with that building, but, you know, I think if you guys go down to 20%, I still think you're gonna get a big bang for your buck,
I
signage
think
wise.
We kind of started there.
Everybody starts
We-
big,
we-
yeah.
No, we started there at 15, because I read.
Oh,
15
okay,
for
gotcha.
business,
Yeah.
And it was so super tiny. And
Really?
Then we looked next to, I said, wait a minute.
Sure.
I measured this.
Mhm.
Let's look at what this is.
Right,
And then we
right.
went back and,
Okay,
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
even like
you know,
the-
had something the length of
Mhm.
Behold. What's it called?
Yeah,
Behold.
yeah, yeah.
I keep saying beyond, but it should be beyond. Anyway,
Yeah.
Behold, and then, of course, From the Boot.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, From the Boot is a square.
Yeah, yeah.
That's- that was
yeah, I don't remember
20,
for the
25
boot
square
or
feet,
whatever
so
ever
that's-
coming in.
That's
so,
over
Yeah.
as well, so.
That is your logo, the logo used in your other stores, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's set, okay. Well, let's look at the other
Yeah.
side window
The side window.
as you enter the building.
Mhm. The side window, we have 3 artistic bagels, that's what they're called.
Mhm.
And they represent wheat, honey, and fire.
It's the ingredients.
And that's all the
to make
ingredients.
everything, and it's the first one, and the second is, yeah, the honey water that the bagels are boiled in, and then you've got the fire that completes the process.
Right.
So those would be applied
Okay.
adjacent to one another on that side window.
Is that kind of a logo you put on your other buildings also?
No, we haven't done it on any other building.
Okay.
Because we just did the whole branding refresh.
Okay.
But we put that on the back of their shirts,
Mhm.
of the employee shirts and all of our marketing material. But this would be the first
Okay.
store it would actually go on.
So it's variant artwork to go along with the main brand.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well.
I like 'em.
You know, that's, if you add all those up, they're 5.33 square feet. And that'd certainly be within the 20% for that particular
Yeah,
window.
Great.
yeah, absolutely.
So there's no problem there.
And the door sign is,
Yeah, the door sign is A-okay.
Yeah, door sign's fine.
Yeah.
yeah.
The doors, we've never really, like the hours and stuff like that,
That
we never
wouldn't count.
considered.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
that doesn't count.
You have to have that on there, so.
Yeah. I know, I'm just thinking, and it's
Yep.
certainly your business and everything like that, but maybe instead of the 3 logos, maybe you want to be a little repetitious and put what you have on the front window on the side window, just in a small form, or, I don't know. I mean, it's your business, you know. So,
I like them. I think they're great. They maintain a brand consistency. Like,
Yeah.
so you'll see the employees wearing them on the back of the shirt, so there's
Mhm.
a repeating theme that,
Mhm.
that gets picked up. Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else that we want to talk about that spread the love, sort of like.
Valerie, Mike, please.
Oh, yeah.
Mike.
Did you want that maybe somewhere here since we have the square footage, spread the love, or is that? Okay, you're good with that? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Well, I would say this, I think you know where we stand, you know, where
Right.
we have to stand because of the code book. I would say this, if you are agreeable to go down to the 20%, Valerie, if you can just make some revised plans showing the 20% and turn it into the township. You know, again, you can go to the zoning hearing board if you like. If you change that side window in any way, again, maybe, you know, make sure it's under 20%. Again, you know, turn the plans into the township.
will do.
Just to make sure, and, you know.
So sort of as a point of clarification and moving forward,
Yes.
we're, as a board, we're prepared to approve conditionally, approve conditionally that it comes in compliance with 20% and the right square
Mhm.
footage.
Right.
That subsequently means that. So again, that's school of thought number 1, right? We could do that today without a problem.
Yeah.
The second part of that is it can also be conditional approval that you wouldn't have to come back in front of us again. Like, we're okay for the aesthetics of the sign if they
Positively.
received zoning relief.
Mhm.
So that, again, we're like, yeah, the sign in and of itself, as it stands, is okay. But again, because it's out of our sort of jurisdiction, we can't sort of approve it
Most-
size-wise.
It's an or, it's a conditional, it's like you either A or B.
Yeah.
Yeah, condition review.
So it's a conditional approval in both cases. There's just an A or B.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
As to the front sign, the other signs were fine.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that
Yep.
as we prepare to make that motion, that's what we're.
Right.
we're-
That's it.
We're
Right.
saying.
Okay.
And Kevin, that sounds okay?
So, but, so, let me see,
Okay.
And that projecting sign, you know, you can't do anything with it.
That'd
We'll
be
have to
like an oops, the ladder hit it, knocked it down. I didn't,
Yeah.
I'm just joking. That was,
Or if it's not there, and it's an enforcement issue.
You know, the sad
Sorry.
thing is that you cannot see, your vision is cut off from the corner of where Great American Pub is
Mhm.
because of all of the tents and the
Right.
landscaping and whatever, the
Mhm.
privacy they have there. So that view is kind of cut off to our
Mhm.
store, so
Yeah,
that's why it's kind of key
right.
well,
that we have something.
it is public knowledge that there is the intent of a roof deck for the Great American Pub and a staircase that would be directly adjacent to your, like, at that facade, the front facade, the staircase is immediately to the
Yeah.
right of the edge of the building, property line.
Yeah. There
So,
it is.
just, yeah, okay.
You do?
There's, I'm thinking about that building, in the drive to the left of the building, which is, I believe, leads to your parking in the back. I believe they put up like a sign and where you could, you know, pop out different tenants and put new tenants. Now, are you going to have access to one of those tenant boards?
Like a directory sign?
You will? Yes. Okay, and you'll keep the consistency of the font and everything, or?
I actually talked to Ken in passing, or the landlord in passing about that,
Mhm.
and we would have the same kind of affordable luxury, high-end, nice branding, like, kind of like what you saw with the Bruno. Just plain spread bagelry, maybe a bagel, artistic bagel on each side,
Mhm.
but it'll just look like everybody else's. but
Okay,
with-
yeah, so it's just a, are you okay with that, Kevin? Yeah. Yeah.
If this board is it, yes.
Yeah, it's just a wall sign with interchangeable panels as tenants come and go, so.
Yeah, the typeface would remain the same, so
Okay.
it would be,
Okay.
you know, cohesive all the way through.
Actually, if you guys happen to go by and look down that drive,
You can see that.
there's like a big blade sign. I remember that was kind of controversial, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they got approval on that.
I
so,
remember.
Yeah, yeah, just point of interest. Okay, anything else? Kevin, you're in good shape?
Yes.
Okay, and Tim, you're good?
Yep.
And Jason, you want to take it?
Sure, I'll take
Okay.
it. So,
You got-
okay.
I'm sorry, you guys have any other questions for us? You all right? Okay,
All right.
all right.
In the matter of DRB 2020-20, the application by Valerie Rogers for spread bagelry at 134 North Wayne Avenue, Suite 102 in Wayne, I move to give conditional approval for option A, which would be to have the sign come in compliance with square footage limitations that reflect the 20% of the full window scope. Or option B, that it is approved aesthetically as it's presented and in its size, provided you receive zoning relief.
Okay, good. Do we have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Chairman,
much.
thank you for working with us as we
Okay.
work through it, too.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
that
sir.
motion was specifically for the front sign. Do you want to have a second motion for the other window signs on
Thank
there,
you.
just to tie up
Okay.
loose ends?
Thank you. And so, in the matter of DRB 2020-20, application by Valerie Rogers for spread bagelry at 134 North Wayne Avenue, Suite 102, I move to approve the two side vinyl signage on the door and sort of the artistic bagels on that side window.
Okay, second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
All right.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
thank you. Thanks.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks, thanks
absolutely,
a lot.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right. Any other business for our board tonight? Okay,
Other than Tim's wife's birthday.
all right. Happy birthday to your wife. Give her a shout out. Is she watching at home?
No, she doesn't.
She's not watching at home? Okay, all right.
She's not one of the two people.